Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks a lot for being here. We appreciate the support. And first off, wanted to follow up on a very short video I made just yesterday, wishing Steve a happy birthday. He is the founder of this channel. He's now over at The Boston Guy. Go over there, give him a subscribe, wish him happy birthday. Happy birthday, Steve. Okay, I wanted to get right into it on an issue that I don't know if it's been covered a lot. Steve and I have talked about it, and I believe it's the number one issue for challenges and problems here in Asia, Philippines, and to some extent Thailand. So when on my very first flight, almost 3 years ago, my very first flight to the Philippines, my exploratory flight, I thought it out, you guys. I always do when I travel. I have done a lot of traveling around the world, and I consider myself a savvy traveler. I consider myself that, whether it's seat selection or airline or time to fly or airport. There's a lot of things who you buy, what portal do you buy your ticket from? I go into all that. I know, I'm going down a rabbit hole. On my very first flight to the Philippines, I thought it out. You guys, it was just crazy the amount of effort that went into it. I picked a bulkhead seat near the window, had plenty of leg room. What the heck could go wrong? Well, I should have known that because this is the second, third, fourth, fifth bulkhead that I booked. And I've only had a problem, twice out of maybe, let's say 4 or 5 times with the bulkhead. And this was one of them. So I booked that seat, and paid a little bit extra for it. I went through it was Philippines Airlines who I flew. And I flew nonstop out of San Francisco. So, and I did that for a reason because I like nonstops and I like doing 16 hours instead of 34 hours. Anyway, so I get snuggled into my seat. Life is good. There's a woman on the edge, very friendly, Filipino. We're chatting. So, and in walks in the gentleman in the middle seat. And look, you guys, I'm going to be very careful on what I say because we have to nowadays. And I'm not going to, body shame. In walks a man who's like north of 375 pounds, if not more. And so the airline and him thought it was appropriate to sell him a middle seat. So he sits down, rather shy and, obviously feeling guilty because he feels bad. He sits down in this middle seat, literally pushes me up against the window. So he's part in my seat, part in the other woman's seat, all in his seat. And I'm thinking, what, 13, 16 hours not even having my own seat? No. So being me, I got a little pissed off about it. It's, I hate the term it's not fair because it's such a silly term because life is not like that. Life is not fair. However, it just wasn't right that I paid extra for this seat and I really didn't get it. So I kind of had a couple of tense moments with him and his husband. And finally we worked something out where I swapped seats with the husband. I wasn't happy about it because I didn't think I should have to. However, and this is not a video about body shaming or about how the airlines screw us on the seats. It's not, because overall, I like Philippine Airlines. I've had some really good experiences there. So I ended up, and things happen for a reason, and with me, things usually happen for the best. I ended up getting 2 seats. It wasn't a bulkhead, it didn't have the room that I believed I had paid for. However, I ended up with 2 seats, and met a really nice guy, and really nice people around me. The point is, as I'm getting out of the as I'm getting out of the plane, I had met many Filipinos, and they knew this was my first trip. They were excited for me. Everyone was excited. There's a lot of expats on the flight. COVID was breaking. We were all excited. The woman gave me the best advice I've ever gotten about the Philippines, and I don't know why I haven't talked about it more. So the number one issue that Steve and I see with expats coming to both Philippines and Thailand is that you come here with something in your mind, with a set of ideas in your head. You have been, owned your own business, you have been a manager, you have been a VP, you have had all these accolades, success, many of you, you're starting a new chapter with high hopes and good intentions and beliefs. What I see what happens was what this woman said. This woman's advice, and you're all going to like shake your head and say, why didn't you say this in the beginning? This woman's advice was, your expectations are here. Reality is here. Set your expectations lower or have none, and you won't be disappointed. In my 20s, I dated this really, for like 7 years, I dated this really beautiful person who, when you're in your 20s, and I don't want to say your first love because you were teenagers, but when you dated someone for a long time, they really mean something to you. And that's what this person did to me. One of the things she taught me at the beginning of our relationship was, you cannot disappoint me because I have no expectations of you. And I thought that was really a great thing to say because we didn't really have any expectations of each other. We just kind of got to know each other, fell in love. And how does that lead us to the Philippines and Thailand? It does. Because we come here thinking that, okay, I'm going to get treated this way. If I pay this many pesos, I'm going to get this. If a worker, and this one is really true, and this is true in 2 Asian countries I've been to, if they make an appointment to show up at 8 o'clock in the morning and I change my appointment, they're going to show up at 8 o'clock in the morning. Well, I got news for you. So they won't. And that's not just a Philippines, Thailand. I remember spending a lot of time in Hawaii. We called it Hawaiian time. And I've heard about other countries being on their Mexico time or whatever, where the time that they set with you is a suggestion. It's not an actual time, which I think is crazy. But that's just me. The point being is I heard a lot of expats when I first got there grumble, and I still hear them grumble about customer service, about how horrible it is here in Philippines and Thailand. And all I'm going to say, my reply is always literally just basically 3 words, 3 company names. And I'll say, have you ever dealt with AT&T? Have you ever dealt with Comcast? Have you ever dealt with, and I'm not going to name them, but a host of credit card companies or utilities? They're the worst. Have you ever dealt with them, sir? What was it like to deal with AT&T and then go through a tree of workers that none of them can really help you? So, and I'm not, bashing AT&T, even though, I was an AT&T customer for 10 years and was so disappointed at the way we broke up, so to say. They would tell me one thing and they would actually send it in an email, and then they would do something different. I mean, one of our processes, the phone company literally turned me into the credit union, or not the credit union, but the credit bureau, and then had to pull it back, and then did it again. I mean, it's so crazy. So I really don't want to hear how bad you think the service is in the Philippines when I just left a place where it would take, I couldn't pay my cable bill without literally going down there and showing them that it was just crazy. So it's worldwide. And some people come back to me and they say, well, they go to call centers now. They do that for a reason, for cost, for sure. And also, I believe in part because they have a hard time hiring people. So, and I'm not justifying because I really don't like call centers. And I really think that, American Express tried it. And then I think American Express came back. So companies have tried it and gone back. And personally, I have no problems. I think that several of my insurance companies, health, are based out of Iloilo, and I know one of them for sure is based out of Makati. I know exactly where the call center is. If you stay at Gramercy, I think it's Gramercy Park, and you look down, there's the call center for several health insurance companies. So getting back to the point, I know I'm going down a rabbit hole, and I'll have people say that. But the point is that, I let up on my expectations, even though I still have them, you guys. I admit it. That's why I'm going to a Western clinic here, because you have certain expectations that when you walk into your health clinic, there's not going to be somebody holding a chicken, or there's not going to be people in bare feet, And there's nothing wrong with holding a chicken or being in bare feet. I don't think. Okay. The point is that we get used to a certain level of either service or incompetence. And I find myself still, especially in a restaurant, I think that American restaurants overall are, they try really hard. It was shown to us during COVID that, they're essential, whether it's grocery workers or restaurant workers or fast food or, we came to rely on them. And so when I sit down at a restaurant, we come to rely on that. When I sit down at a restaurant, no matter where I am at the world, I expect a certain number of things. And here in Thailand, they don't have service water, which really makes me sad. So that just means you have to pay for water and end up getting another plastic container. But you expect a certain level. And I believe that here in Thailand, more so than the Philippines, here in Thailand, the expectations are, they're more met. I mean, they're used to dealing with Farangs, that's what they call us, or if I'm saying it correctly, it's just foreigner, is what it is. They're used to dealing with foreigners, and not just Americans. As a matter of fact, I had a workout session yesterday, and I met a gentleman from Norway, and he was wondering where all the Nordics were. I'm like, dude, give it 20 minutes, and 5 will show up, whether it's Finland, Denmark, Sweden, Norway. And so the people here, the workers, are used to dealing with Europeans and Nordics and Americans and Canadians. And some of them get it that, hey, if I want more to come, this is how I interact. Or some of them are like, this is how I've done it, how my family's done it for generations, don't like it, take a hike. I get that too. And quite frankly, I'm literally okay with both, as long as I know. There's been a couple of restaurants where I just won't go back. And it's not because the food is bad or they're bad people. It's just because our ideas of service are different. If I walk into a restaurant and see a bunch of open seats and you come up and tell me, oh, they're reserved, and there's no reserve sign, you don't have to tell me twice. You really don't. So, and I haven't been back to that restaurant, and I won't recommend it. But then I won't bash them either, because that's just how they want to do business. So with that being said, the number one tip that I would give to help expats, the number one tip I would give to expats to help get past this is just don't have any expectations. Yes, you came from a different place, whether it's Canada, America, London, Scotland, Ireland, wherever it is, and just know it's going to be different. And for some people, that's really difficult. For others, I have spent time and worked in Africa and in Mexico and Jamaica, in the Jamaica outback. That was crazy. So I have worked in a lot of countries that, are not as developed as Thailand or really even the Philippines. So, I've worked in a town that had no power and no water and no sewage. It was just literally a ditch. And that's just the way it is there. Me wanting and stomping my feet in the gross water is not going to change anything. So, and look, I'll be the first to admit it. I have issues with it sometimes. You just got to let it go. And I think that it really holds true with a lot of issues, whether it's dating or whether it's traveling or, now we have to look at the airlines. I mostly get, good service and I have select a few airlines that I work with now. And some people think I'm crazy, some people think not. So I work a lot with AirAsia here in this part of the world, and they are cut rate, and you have to pay extra for a seat and for a seat belt. However, I like them. They're good people. They've always done me right. And even when you pay for the extra fees, it's not that expensive. So AirAsia, Philippine Airlines, I'm getting ready to try some new ones, whether it's the Emirates or Qatar or whether it's Nippon Air. I'm getting ready to try a bunch of new airlines, and I'm excited about it. With that being said, again, let me know your thoughts. Did you come here with certain expectations? how's it worked out for you as far as expectations? My advice, sabai, let it go. And it is very difficult advice, even for me. Anyway, I hope this has helped you. Happy birthday again, Steve. We'll see you next time.